you laughing? This is my friend Xiomara.
Hello.
Absolutely adore her. You can check her, stalk her on Facebook, Xiomara Mejia. Stalk her on Instagram. Oh, okay.
Instagram is
not private. Xiomara Mejia. I mean, you know, green smoothie girl. Thank you, Jesus. Guys, it's important to have healthy friends, okay? Because ultimately, your friends influence the decisions that you make, okay? So now I'm sitting here with Sio. If she was drinking like a soda, I'd probably be drinking soda, and I can't be having soda.
But I'm not.
You know, so
kiwi, kale, spinach, and mango.
That's right. Friends who are healthy together.
Yum.
Achieve goals together. Anyway.
Let's keep talking about the struggle is real.
Yes! So
the
today,
irony.
We are going to be talking on the subject, the struggle is real. Right? I mean, I think the struggle gets realer by the year. Like,
the more you age, the struggle becomes
like
even more
the
real.
level of struggle also just, you know, increases with your age. But so does the goodness of God. Right? So,
Pastor B, yeah.
So does the goodness of God. So it's okay. We're not going to tell you about the struggle so you can be discouraged, but rather we're going to tell you about the struggle so you can be encouraged. Right? So that you can know that we have struggles too, because I believe so do you. But we can do this. We can do this together, which is absolutely amazing. So Xiomara,
Yes.
what is one thing that you can say that you've struggled with?
I asked her before. I was like, "Is this like an interview?" No, we're just gonna chat. We
are chatting.
It feels like
not a chat.
I feel like I'm in a talk show.
Okay, but one thing that you feel like you've struggled with, like over a long period of time, and can sometimes still be a struggle now, if you don't mind sharing.
I think for me, it's definitely been trusting people.
Mm-hmm.
That's been the thing that I've struggled with since I was really young.
Yeah.
Up until recently, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's been something that I've had to like work through, and sometimes I ignored it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I was like mindful and I guess try to do things in order that wasn't like the route that I would take.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't see somebody and be like, oh, I don't trust you. So sometimes I'd be mindful, but if I'm honest, most of the time I was like, nah.
Yeah, not gonna do it. Yeah. For me, something that I think I've struggled with for a very long time, and I didn't necessarily know the extent until recently when God called me out.
Mm-hmm.
What a sad life, because Jesus will call you out, so you better deal with it, because he will call you out.
Yes, he will.
For me, it's been like insecurity, just being insecure and making decisions for my life based on insecurity and fear. Like, I didn't realize just how insecure I was. Like, I knew that there were certain areas in my life where, like, I was just insecure.
Yeah.
But then the Lord was like, actually, your whole life, you're just an insecure
Let me show you when
child.
you were 11.
Do you know what I mean? You've just been consistently insecure, and I'm like, well, that's a tough one to swallow. And literally, no jokes, when this happened for me, I think maybe 3 weeks ago, even when the Lord called me out, and this, I was having a chat with my mentor about how lazy and stuff I was feeling, and then somehow we ended up on the path to me discovering that I've just been insecure about everything all my life. And I cried my eyes out for like days, okay? I just cried and cried and cried. I'm like, are you serious? Because it's true, you know? Like, there's decisions that I've made in my life and it's based on fear. And because of that, I might not necessarily have done stuff that I would have wanted to do, but because I was like, nah, I don't think I'm good enough, or I don't know if I can do this, I went another route completely.
Yeah.
And now I'm 25 and I'm back in college. That's what happens when you're insecure. Jokes.
I mean, kind of half jokes.
Yeah, look,
half jokes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Sort of a joke, but not really. So that's, for me, it's been insecurity, and coming to terms with that at 25 is like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, so I've been insecure all my life. What now? You know, it's sort of, it's difficult for me to navigate where to go from here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how it is for you, like, coming to terms with it right now. Like, how do you move forward
From like my struggle with trusting.
Yeah.
I think for me, honestly, it was when I came here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, so you move. So we're obviously you guys know we're in college, Hillsong, in Australia. So you move, I'm from the States. So you move across to the other side of the world where they have like the deadliest snakes, the deadliest jellyfish, the deadliest spiders.
Yep.
Like, guys, there was a spider in our house yesterday that was this big.
No jokes.
Like, maybe it looks small right now, but it's like almost my face. Anyway, it's okay. Jesus is good. He's still on the throne.
Real place.
What was I saying? So yeah, like
across,
you move like from where you're comfortable and where you know people, and it's just like, like everybody knows me here, like my home church, like awesome church, and like I loved it, and like I got to do worship and stuff. And so because I was so comfortable, like I hadn't realized how I had kind of like built this wall when it came with people. And so when I got here, it was like God's really funny. Yeah. He's like, hey, now that you have no one, let's talk about that thing that hurt you this many years ago, which is why you don't trust people. And I think honestly, like coming here and having nobody to rely on but God really shifted my focus. And I found myself one day praying like, God, like I want to love people and I want to see people the way that you do, because it was so easy for me to see somebody and like not want to get close to them because I didn't want to get hurt, or like I didn't want something to happen. And then my mentality became like, screw people, like I don't care about people, I don't like people, and I just grew very cold. And unless like for some reason you just stuck and I was like, I love you. Yeah. But the majority of my life has been very like distant, very like there's a lot of layers. And so when I got here, I think that was when God was like, why don't you trust me? Or like, what is it about this situation? And just working through that with God really like shifted. I think my lack of trust stemmed from people, obviously. And it was just kind of like, if I don't get close to people, they won't hurt me. Yeah. Like if I don't open myself up, there's no, it's not gonna do anything to me. Yeah. And I was just like really losing the heart of what God is and his heart for people. Yeah. And so just coming here and like being in this church where it's encouragement on encouragement on encouragement on encouragement. Really. And you're like, but you don't know me. But they're like, yeah, but we love you, we believe in you, and all these things. Yeah. And then so I came to a place where God was just like, hey, like you can stay where you're at or you can come with me. And I was just like, oh flip, well let's go, Jesus.
Let's do this.
And so that's how I have overcome that.
That's amazing.
Overcome that bit.
That's great. And how do you feel since going on the journey with Jesus?
Oh man, like, so before I was always like, no, I'm not a crier. Like I never cry. And I have this friend Tim from back home, and he would be like, Sio, just cry. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna cry. I never cry. And he would just make fun of me. And then I was having a conversation with a friend, and she was just telling me her story, and I just found myself like in tears, because I was like, I think like I finally began to see people just the way that God does. And like good. I actually like love people now, which is, if you would have asked me that years ago, I'd be like, no, like I'm okay, like I can be by myself and be fine. But now I'm like, oh man, like I love people, my core, like it's just I think that's been the biggest thing, is just being vulnerable and being open with people. And it's led to some like really, really good friendships. And like this one, my little lovely here. Aww. Yay.
We're not physical touch, by the way.
We're not. This is very awkward. I'm like,
but we love each other. Yay!
I was like, when I put my hand on your face, I was like, oh, I'm doing this.
You went in for the touch, yeah. You're doing it for marriage.
Jesus.
Just saying.
Talk about struggles.
Future husband.
Right here.
Yep. I mean, she's pretty fine. Just saying, and she's amazing, and she loves the Lord. This is not an advert, other way, but I'm just saying, in case you're wondering, she's the real deal. But
what about you?
Let's not go there. So,
not yet.
That's really good what you say. about it just takes vulnerability. Because for me as well, coming here, I've never allowed myself to be vulnerable. You know, like I don't know what it is. For me, I think it's actually just maybe just my background or how I grew up, or just maybe it's just an African thing where we're taught to be strong, and we're taught, you know, you're strong and you don't cry. You know, when something hurts and your parents are like, don't cry. You know what I mean? Like, it's something as small as don't cry, but it just builds something in you, you know. So now when things hurt you, you don't want to cry because when you're growing up, they told you not to cry. So for me, vulnerability was like, nah, you know, like no one has to know, whatever. And that's definitely something that I'm still working on. And I think that is largely influenced by the fact that I'm so insecure in myself. You know, so it's like, what my emotions, what if they're not valid? So now if I cry about something and people are just gonna be like, okay, are you sure? Do you know what I mean? So because I don't have, or I haven't had that sense of security in myself, it's just very difficult for me to be vulnerable, because it's like, what if this is not valid? Does this even make sense? But it doesn't have to, which is something that I've learned since being here, that it doesn't have to make sense. You know what I mean? Like, emotions are emotions, and they're normal, and they're okay, and they don't freak God out. So I mean, just express them, be real, because more than anything, it sets me free. You know what I mean? Just allowing myself to be honest with the way that I feel, because I mean, I tend to be so insecure that I will try to convince myself that I don't feel a certain way. Like, how crazy is that? You know what I mean? Like, I'll feel something and then I'll be like, no, of course you don't.
Nah.
Like, how crazy is that? That is so twisted. Like, the devil is just disgusting. And all of this to say that you can't be free. You know, that's the thing about the struggle. And like, not necessarily, like, not wanting to deal with it, you just end up being bound, and you live in bondage, and you don't enjoy the freedom that God intended for us to have. I mean, for me, it's been a 3-4 week journey since God said to me, okay, so this is where you're at, and we need to move past this. And just since acknowledging that this is where I'm at, I just have so much freedom. I mean, in 3 weeks, imagine I've started this journey a year ago. It's been 3 weeks and I already feel just such a great degree of freedom. And I guess, like what we're saying, is basically just to allow yourself to go on this journey with the Lord. Like, it's daunting, it's scary, it's not fun. I can't believe that I've allowed myself to be insecure for so long. Like, what the heck? But I love that God loves me enough to call me out and still want to go on the journey with me. You know? And now we can be free and happy and trust people and love everyone and cry and, you know, just be secure in the Lord. 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 But that's a preaching for another day.
Pastor B here.
Stop. We're not going there.
Okay, so in our core, she's been, okay, so I'm guessing back home, you all know, y'all. You all know, who am I? You guys know how much wisdom she has. So we'll be in core, and the trainer will be like, hey, do you guys have any thoughts or whatever? Share it with each other, share with the class. And then she's sitting there, like, quietly, and all of a sudden she, like, timidly, like, raises her hand. She's like, and then I have to, like, lift it. I'm like, whoa. And then she just drops these bombs, and you're just like, who are you? So in our course, she's Pastor B. So call her Pastor B, please. Whenever, that's gonna be her new legal name.
I do not endorse this. I'm just saying.
This is not an advertisement either. Trust us, nobody is paying for this. You're welcome.
But what's something that you feel like you've been struggling with recently? So something that's a recent struggle. Because the first one was an overall big one. What's something that right now you're just like, ugh?
Watching 18-year-olds date, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get married.
Real place.
And you're sitting there 25 years old,
and you're like,
cobwebs like, surrounding you, like, hello, I'm alive. Am I blind? Am I blind? Are you blind?
Am I invisible?
There we go. Thank you.
That is actually so true.
You know, that's probably, in all honesty, is just, and it's probably really, I don't know. I feel like
it's real.
I feel like I was actually gonna write about this because I feel like society, it's just like, so we're 25, and especially my culture, like my parents' generation. My mom got married when she was 18. My grandmas both got married when they were 13, And so when I see some of my family and like they have like 4 kids, like my cousins are married, and except for my little cousin who's 15 or 16 or something like that. But anyway, and I don't know, I feel like society is just like, a woman needs to be married or a woman needs to be a wife, and then that's kind of like what was ingrained in my mind for a few years. And I was like, no, like I don't want to be married because of that. And then so that was like when I was like 18, my mentality was like, no, like I'm fine, I'm an independent woman, I don't need a man. And then now 25, I'm like JK Jesus.
7 years ago. That was a joke.
That was a joke.
Should have sent him back then.
Can't take jokes, God. No, but for real, like, go on Instagram. Oh, social media is the worst. You go on Instagram and you see like this person got engaged, this person got engaged, this person got engaged.
Especially in college.
Yeah, and you're sitting there like, you guys met 6 months ago. What is happening? No, not that that's bad, but like good for them. But you know, sitting here in your bed on Friday night.
I've been single for a while ago.
Like, Jesus.
Just saying.
I mean,
that's real. That's real. I think that's something for me as well. Like recently, like in the past week, I'm just like, are you serious? Like,
and it's so funny because like when we started talking, I remember there was a day where we were like, I said, it was like, I don't remember. We were coming back from team night and we were wrecked. Yeah. And we were talking about trusting God or, and that turned into like relationships. Cause for me, like I was in a relationship before I came and it ended like crap. And then, but it was like marriage. Like that's where we were going. Like we were engaged, ready to get married, and then it just ended. So then for me, I'm just kind of like, Jesus, like I was fine. Like I was like, okay, after the breakup I got here, I was like, all easy, whatever. And then we were walking home one day and we just started talking about like that desire, and we were like, what? And then like when you realize that you're not alone with like something like that, you don't feel as crazy.
I was like, oh,
it's reassuring when you're like, and I think we even said like, oh, we're in the same boat.
Okay.
We're rowing together.
We're together in this,
and then
so comforting.
Yeah, but we're still there, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we're still there, still
single,
still waiting, still trusting.
You know?
Yeah, and we actually had this conversation ages ago. The Coles one. My goodness, that was first semester when we still had a 6 months clause.
Yeah. We were like, after 6 months, it's fine. Now it's been
a year.
Our year is over, and we are
not even a young conversation.
You see this?
You know what I mean? Like, but
Jesus.
I think it's what makes the struggle real is that there isn't even a prospect. Like it almost feels like God has forgotten.
There's a prospect in my mind, but
but you know what I mean? Yeah, of course. I mean, in our minds, there will forever be prospects in the name of Jesus. But you know, like it just feels like Jesus.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think for me, like at this point, it's made it like the struggle is real, has been even more real. Yeah. Because it's the first time in my life where I've been like, I actually do want a family.
Exactly.
And I see babies now, and I just stare at them and I'm like, oh, babies. And I've never, ever been.
Didn't want children.
No, I didn't want kids until I think that was another thing that God was like, hey, here, give this to me. Yeah. And I think it was like a month or recent. Yeah, it was recent, where I was sitting in class out of all places, and I was just like, I started crying and I was like, God, I want kids. And I was like, what? But
who am I?
And then in our core this week, one of the girls in our core, her mom's here, and she was talking about how her ministry, her greatest honor is being a mom and a wife. And I was just sitting there, like, listening to all of this, and I was like, God, I want that. Yeah. I want that. So I think it's just so many things, like, pile up where it just feels very endless.
Yeah, it just
where
feels
I'm like, where's the end? And you just look around.
Can we get to the end of the season? Yeah, right? That's crazy, because exactly the same. Like, I'm just like, okay, Jesus. I have cousins who are older than me on my mom's side. So my cousins that are girls who are still not married. I have a cousin who's like 30, I want to say 35, but I think she's 37 this year. I've got cousins who are like 27, you know, cousins who are 30, not married. And growing up, I was always like, I'll be the one to defy the odds, you know. And now I'm like 25 and I still haven't defined the odds. And I'm like, Jesus, I've been single for a year, a minute, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think, like, it's not so much my singleness that bothers me, right?
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
anything, I've enjoyed my season of singleness. I've been
Yeah.
single for like 4 years now. I've maximized it, enjoyed it, still am maximizing it. But it almost starts to feel like as the years go by, it feels like something that God is sort of forgetting.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, maybe it also plays on that insecurity. It's like, God, but no one's like looking at me.
Yeah.
You know, no one's like showing interest.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me, kind of thing, you know? So that's a real place. That's where we're at right now. All this to say that the struggle is real. Like, amongst all of us, there's not one person that I have met, and I don't believe I will ever meet someone who does not struggle with something. Right? And I love that we can speak about this so freely. You know what I mean? Because your struggle doesn't define you.
Yeah.
So what if I struggle? You know what I mean? That's just an opportunity for God to improve us, or there's just an opportunity for God to come in and take us on a journey, and we will just be better at the end of the day. You know how once we didn't trust people, and now you can say, you know what, I trust people and I love people. And you're like one of the most loving people ever. Right? So to hear you speak about not trusting people, I'm like, okay, wait, what? Can you introduce me to Xiomara from 2016?
Oh, you don't want to know her.
Because this Xiomara is like the most loving person in the world. So her life is in fact a testimony. You know what I mean? Which is the beautiful thing about struggle, is that there's a testimony at the end of it.
Yeah.
So the point of this video is just to encourage you that you can do this. You too can be a testimony, but also just to encourage people to feel free to speak about the stuff that they're going through.
Yeah.
Because like we learned is that you're very rarely alone. You know, you struggle the same, and you can support one another in those struggles. Because the fact that you're Christian doesn't mean you don't struggle.
Yeah.
Right? It just means you have a good support system, your fellow Christian brothers and sisters. You have a God who is willing to go on this journey with you.
Yeah.
And the first step on this journey is just being open about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we hope you guys have liked this.
Yeah.
We have literally put our souls out there.
Yeah.
Now people know we're single. Now people know that we yeah. Now you guys know that we have issues as well, and I hope you'll be encouraged to share your issues with your friends and with the Lord, most importantly.
Yeah.
That's it from us. And now
Bye.
Bye. Somewhere. Yes.
That was